Hey guys, quick note before we start. This was a Lionsgate film, and because they tend to be rather claim happy on YouTube, I just used pictures of the action figures rather than pictures of the movie itself. Also, yes, I am aware I call Sky Star Sky Dancer in this, so you don't need to correct me. Okay, on with the show. Okay, so this is the belated My Little Pony review. Um, just got out of the theater about 20 or so minutes ago. This is kind of a strange movie to an extent, and not because I'm unfamiliar with My Little Pony. I've actually watched quite a bit of it since about the second season or so. Excuse me. Like I said, I've watched just about every episode starting. I didn't start at season one, but I've watched every episode pretty much since then. And yeah, I'm familiar with this. Sorry for being a little weird at the opening. It's just kind of the movie itself is just a little strange looking. I mean, when they started advertising it, I thought the animation looked really bad and just kind of smudgy. And I mean, from what I heard, that was kind of test footage that got leaked into the trailer and really shouldn't have been used to begin with. The animation in the film is actually pretty good for the most part. They also didn't do an entirely great job of introducing some of the characters in this. There's a character voiced by Taye Diggs. His name is actually Capper, and for the whole time I thought he was just called Cat. I mean, he was a cat character, but other than that, I didn't quite pick his name up very well. There was a couple other ones too. Again, names were sometimes muddled. A lot of characters were kind of missing from this. There's no Discord. There's no Starlight Glimmer. She pops up in the end credits, and that's kind of it. Yeah. Anyway, kind of the story in general. First off, this thing began with a short called Hanuzuki Full of Treasures. This girl is chasing like a little color thing around that has a diamond that was given to her by some sort of dream baby. I didn't understand that at all. I'm not familiar with that property. I guess it's a Hasbro property. Also, apparently the movie division of Hasbro is now called Allspark. Yeah, from Transformers. In fact, there's actually another Transformers reference in here. When the enemies start attacking, one of them has like this big sort of loudspeaker thing. They actually use the Transformers sound. You hear the boop, 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 boop. So that was kind of unique. Anyway, the plot of this is at the beginning. Twilight Sparkle is planning a big friendship festival in Canterlot. There's this big concert for Songbird Serenade. That's kind of the high point of everything. And she asks her fellow princesses, Celestia, Luna, and Cadence, to help out a little bit. She needs the sun and the moon in the exact position and Cadence to use some crystal magic to create the perfect reflections of everything. And then the lighting for the concert will be perfect. And this is even a little too demanding for the three other princesses, and they said, listen, you don't need to put everything exactly, you're doing fine, just just do it, kind of a thing. Like, you don't always need to, part of it is she's trying, you need to try to do things on your own sometimes too, not just constantly rely on others, which is kind of funny given that this is based on friendship is magic, and the magic of, the whole magic of friendship thing again, sorry. And anyway, all the planning starts to kind of go off. There's a big song in there, and then these storm clouds appear, and it turns out it is the Storm King, who basically looks like a poor man's Tyrek, who is the big villain of season... Oh, was it season 4? Yeah, season 4. The big bad of season 4 was Tyrek towards the end there. Anyway, but his sort of chief underling is a unicorn with a broken horn named Tempest. Oh, shoot. I wrote down Tempest Storm because I thought that's what it was, but it isn't. I'll just put this here. Okay. Immediately she has like these sort of crystals that she could kick at things and encase them in a crystal prison, basically. And she traps Celestia, Luna, and Cadence. At one point, Celestia yells to Luna to do something, to fly south to the Badlands and find the Queen of the Hip, and that's all that she got. And Twilight took this to mean the Queen of the Hippos. Twilight and the other main six, Applejack, Rarity, Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy, escape along with Spike. They get washed down a waterfall and manage to just barely get out of Canterlot. And so Twilight knows to go through the Badlands to someplace, but she doesn't know where to go or what to look up. She thought it was the Queen of the Hippos. Eventually they find this town where they meet the aforementioned Capper, voiced by Taye Diggs. Tempest is voiced by Emily Blunt, by the way. Just a sec here. And they happen upon a town, a sort of pirate village type place. And it turns out Twilight manages to find a book and do some research. It turns out what they're trying to find is the land of the hippogriffs, who are part eagle and part pony, or horse. And so they're trying to... Actually, they're part griffin, part horse, sorry. Anyway, they're trying to get transport to that land. However, Tempest is following them soon behind, and it turns out Capper was actually trying to sell them to a circus. And the main six, they stow away on a ship. It turns out it's a delivery ship for the Storm King, except these delivery people used to actually be pirates. Rainbow Dash sings a song, manages to convince them to return to being pirates and revolt against the Storm King. And she celebrates by doing the Sonic Rain Boom. And something that Twilight is sort of telling them not to do because that's going to attract attention, which it does. The main six barely manage to escape again. They actually break through the bottom of the ship. They turn a crate into a hot air balloon. And then they float to Mount Eris, which is supposed to be the land of the hippogriffs, and they find it abandoned. However, they hear this song coming from a place, and that actually leads them underwater to the land of the sea ponies. And I know I'm summarizing the whole plot here, but I'm trying to get through as much as I can. Sea ponies, turns out, are descendants of the hippogriffs, basically. The hippogriffs went underwater. The Queen, Novo, basically turned them into sea ponies so that they could hide out from the Storm King. And Twilight realizes that magic could help them, and she asks for it, but basically Novo says no. And here's where it gets a little sketchy with this, and some of the characterization. Sorry. Here's where it gets a little sketchy. Twilight tells Pinkie Pie basically to kind of take time to befriend the princess of... God, what's her name? Just a sec. Okay, the princess of the hippogriffs is Sky Dancer. Sorry about that. Sky Dancer, she's basically sort of friendless. Pinkie Pie and the others go through and try to befriend her. However, Twilight tries to use this as a distraction to steal the orb of magic that the hippogriff / sea ponies have that could help her. And it winds up getting them exiled, and this just drives a huge wedge into in between them, because now, exactly, they said, hey, we're all trying to work together. I thought we were supposed to be trying to work together on this. And Twilight's like, you don't understand, I'm the last princess. I have to do this on my own. Yeah, again, this is really uncharacteristic of Twilight in this position. She had learned her lesson from the opening of the show was so that she could learn to rely more on her friends and the magic of friendship. And immediately it just, it kind of throws it all out the window for this one movie. It doesn't really make any sense. Anyway, this drives them apart a bit, and Twilight winds up getting snatched, and the main six reunite with the pirates and Capper and Sky Dancer from the hippogriffs, she returns to being a hippogriff. And they kind of mount an attack, and it's enough of a distraction. Storm King then arises, he begins channeling the magic of the three princes, not Twilight's magic for some reason though, through his staff. And of course, it turns out he betrays Tempest, because she... basically the deal was, she helped him, he would restore her horn. Of course, he doesn't follow through on that, he's the bad guy. In the midst of this, Twilight saves Tempest's life and says, that's what friends do, I'm doing the right thing. And, it's Twilight's realized her mistake, she's trying to get everything back together. The main six reunite to get ready to try to take on the chart. In the midst of the fighting, the staff gets knocked away, and it's a race between Storm King and Twilight. And, excuse me, both of them actually get sucked up into this tornado, and they vanish, but Twilight manages to return. She's got the staff. But Storm King also manages to return, and he fires one of his those crystals at Twilight, but Tempest jumps in and basically blocks it and manages to reflect a bit of it back onto the Storm King. Storm King basically falls over a ledge and smashes, and they use the staff to restore Tempest because she's shown herself to be a true friend. And yeah. And then they celebrate at the end after restoring the princesses and everything back to normal in Equestria. Like I said, overall, if you were a fan of My Little Pony, this would probably be it was decent, it was fun. My only problem is, again, some of the characterization. This is an episode I could believe taking place like maybe in between seasons 3 and 4. You could possibly even argue seasons 4 and 5 when the whole Twilight starting out being a princess type deal was happening. And my phone just went off in the background, sorry. Anyway, the phone fell apart. Sorry, phone. Again, the characterization was really off. I mean, the other main six really don't do much except kind of blunder around. Fluttershy really does nothing at all. I mean, there's like a couple points where there's some comedic where she's counseling some of the Storm King guards. Again, the Storm King guards actually kind of also looked like hippogriffs. It would have been kind of cool to maybe find out something like that. But maybe they had been hippogriffs earlier, but he had changed them. But and the Storm King himself is not a very effective villain. There's a goofy part early on where he tries to contact Tempest, and it's like this visual cue and a crystal ball, and they can't coordinate everything. It's like a cell phone joke. Yeah. It's tough, because there's a lot I did like about this movie, but there's a bit I didn't like about this movie at all. Again, some of the characterization just didn't seem right for what's taking place in season 7 of this show, where Twilight's a little more strong and confident in being a princess. And, yeah. I hope I'm making sense in all of this. Overall, I'm going to give My Little Pony the movie a C. I just kind of thought it was average. It would have worked as a season ender probably for My Little Pony, and that was it. Anyway, okay, trailer time, and yeah, there's really nothing new here. It's pretty much the same trailers we got with Lego Ninjago, save for there was no trailer for The Stray because that's already out, and there's no trailer for My Little Pony, obviously, because that's what I saw. But we had No Malone, The Star, Coco, and the Olaf short, and then Ferdinand to end things up. Oh, also, like I said, there was that short, the Hanazuki Full of Treasures. Anyway, hope I wasn't too rambling in this. I'm a little tired. It's been kind of hectic around here. Next video up is going to be the random trade review on the first volume of Jeff Johns, James Robinson's Hawkman. See you all then. guys, just a reminder, I am on Patreon now at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCat Productions. There's a reward tier where you can request for me to review a movie. So if you want to force me to see something like the Emoji Movie, here's your chance.